No, not yet. There we go.
Good evening, good afternoon, happy day to everyone. Thanks for joining us for the thing that Sero Project is always excited about, but it is our application How to Apply webinar for the Sero Project Justice Institute. I am Kamari Laffrey, she, her pronouns, co-ED at Sero Project. Next slide, please. Yes. So we'll be going over our what is the Sero Project Justice Institute, the objectives, this cohort's timeline, what the expectations are should you be selected to be a part of the Sero Project Justice Institute, and the benefits from that. And here is a lovely picture of the folks that just graduated. The graduation ceremony was hosted at HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy this past June. And I think our first cohort, we graduated them in Atlanta for a special event. So next slide. So SPJI, as we call it, or Sero Project Justice Institute, it's a year-long program, and it's built and designed to nurture advocacy. Whether you're new to advocacy, have been doing it for a long time or not. We're also looking to nurture your leadership skills and your self-empowerment for people living with HIV, and to help assist in their confidence and participation in state-level coalition work. SPJI will help deepen and enhance grassroots movements, especially those led by people living with HIV, to end the wrongful use of one's HIV positive status in criminal prosecutions and address the racism, homophobia, transphobia, and ultimately overcriminalization that disenfranchises communities. Participants that go through this program will increase their skills and tools for strategy planning, gather support, and mentorship. Next slide. SPJI, I think I already said some of this. It's a year-long program, and it's conducted virtually, so you don't have to travel to be a part of the training. It's led by Sero Project staff and community experts that serve as faculty that will all provide practical hands-on tools and training. We'll help SPJI participants share with their state coalitions by creating community engagement opportunities. And you'll hear more about how you'll be able to do that later. And you're always supported by Sero staff and those community experts. So you can reach out to us at any time, even after you graduate. Next slide, or am I done?
That is it. Now we, the first cohort, sorry everyone, hi, Tammy Hott, Shay, Sero Project co-executive director. After the first cohort, after graduation, we asked them to share some of the insights for future cohorts on what they learned during SPJI, how it helped them. So if I can, I'm going to start this video. You'll have to let me know if you can hear the sound. I didn't. So let's see if this is going to work.
There's no sound, Tammy.
No sound. All right, shoot. So I think I need to stop sharing for a second. When I go into, sorry everyone, I think after 3 years I'd have this figured out, but I don't. Video settings, there we go. Oops. No, that's not what I want. Share sound, there it is. Maybe I have it now. Let's try starting DeMario over again and let me know.
this was all new for me as far as advocacy, and being able to come to SPJI has really opened my eyes up and how to build a coalition and things of that nature. It impacts me in the future as well, because now I have the tools that I need, especially call to actions and things of that nature, to help me move forward in my state, whatever we need to do as far as our bills go.
For me, living in a state that does not have HIV criminalization laws, SPJI has really enhanced my knowledge about HIV criminalization and how it impacts us in the South. Even though Texas doesn't have one, but Texas always show up when it's time for legislative session to come in, and they always produce a bill to criminalize us. But for me, SPJI has really enhanced me, because some of the things that have happened to me being arrested, I didn't know that this is what was happening because of my HIV status. So for me to be charged as a felon, my first time ever going to jail could have been prevented if I had known some of this stuff like I do now. So SPJI has really helped me, but also helped me as an advocate, but also as a Black woman.
SPJI has helped me develop the skills that I needed to make a greater impact in my state. Our coalition was able to help pass SB 275. Having did that before I completed, or before I graduated SPJI, I think now going back into our next session, I feel more adept at leading my coalition, documenting what we're doing at our meetings, being able to strategically plan for the next session is just a few of the things that I feel that this institute has helped me with.
The ways in which SPJI has impacted my advocacy have been so profound. I was diagnosed with HIV at the same time that I moved to the South. But it wasn't until I actually joined the SPJI that I even knew that I could get criminalized, get sent to jail or prison for having sex, for not even necessarily having sex, actually just being accused of having sex in the state where I lived, right? Fortunately, because of Sero Project's work, those laws changed while I was living there, and I didn't even know that that happened.
SPJI has allowed me to become a more seasoned or more prepared advocate to do this type of work. I have grown my skill set and feel more empowered to be as authentic as I want to be. Prior to SPJI, I wasn't someone that was open about my status, and since then I have disclosed it to the world, and I think SPJI definitely pushed me to feel ready to do that, take that big leap forward in my advocacy work. Most significant achievement that I have been able to accomplish as part of SPJI, or because I completed this cohort, is having been more involved in the coalition here locally to modernize Georgia's HIV laws. I have been more vocal with my legislators and the community to activate people living with HIV, specifically the Latinx community, to get involved in the movement.
If it wasn't for just being able to participate, I don't think that I would have had the confidence, and that might actually come a little different when you hear something from someone who was instrumental in changing a law in Virginia. I didn't think I could do that then. And to really see that work being valued, not because I did it, but because us as a whole state did that, has been meaningful. It has been valuable. It has been life-changing. It has been a lot. So I'm just so grateful. I didn't think that I would be able to get into SPJI and to have been here. It's multi-generational, it's multicultural, it's intersectional, sexual, and everything else in between. And I just wish the rest of the world happened to be just as amazing as all of the cohort from SPJI.
All right, thank you to everyone. It's great to see our first cohort again. And hopefully this will inspire you to know that, yes, you as well can apply. And we hope that you will after the rest of the webinar. So now I will pass it over to Kevin.
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm Kevin Lish, he, him, his pronouns. I'm the financial director at Sero. Why did I choose to go after that? I always get emotional after that video. Okay, so let's go into the timeline a little bit. The application is getting released today, and we're having the webinar today. Of course, you know that because you're here. You have until August 8th to get the application turned in. By September 5th, we will send out acceptance letters for interviews with doodles attached, so we can find a time that works best with your schedule. We'll be having interviews to help us with the selection process, September 18th through the 22nd. And then the orientation webinar for the third cohort of SPJI will be September 26th. The first module will begin on, the modules will begin October 10th. And then the last module will be September 30th. And then we'll have another fabulous graduation as we did for cohort 1 and cohort 2. Next slide, please. So objectives. We want to help you gain the advocacy skills to assist your confidence and participation in your state coalition's work or any other advocacy you'd like to do. We want to deepen and enhance your grassroots movements, especially when it comes to people living with HIV. And of course, we really want to end the wrongful use of one's HIV status in criminal prosecution and address the racism, homophobia, transphobia, and overcriminalization that disenfranchises our communities. We also want to help you increase your skills and tools for strategic planning, gather support, and mentorship. Next slide. Expectations. When you come to SPJI, we would like you to participate in your state coalition work if your state has a coalition. We need you to have reliable technology, laptop, cell phone, internet, and what's really important, SPJI has been designed that you participate in person. We really could not figure out how to do this where it will be done like at home study course. So we do want you to participate in all the calls, the assignments, the surveys that we'll be sending out time to time during SPJI, and that's going to include pre and post assessments for the Institute. What you can expect each month is 2 meetings a month, a 90-minute introductory webinar with coursework, and then a 90-minute report back. And then we're also going to ask you all to participate in HIV is Not a Crime community conversations, which are the third Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Next slide, please. Great. Benefits. Participants, each participant will receive a $200 stipend each month to help cover the costs for things like internet, cell phone service, and other things that you may feel you need to participate in SPJI. We're going to ask you to fill out a W-9 because we want you to realize that the $200 monthly stipend is reportable income, and you're going to receive 1099 at the end of each year. Next slide, please. more benefits that you're going to accrue by being an SPJI, expert mentorship opportunities from leaders in the HIV community. We want to help you enhance your advocacy skills to raise awareness, inspire action, and affect change through a strategic legislative plan. We're going to have you complete the program. Once you complete the program, you'll receive a certificate of completion for the Sero Project Justice Institute and the opportunity to be faculty for future Sero Project Justice Institute programming. This last cohort, Tana Pradia was a faculty member, and I'm can't recall anyone else, but yeah, we want you to stay involved to help us train future advocates after you leave SPJI. And then you will also be listed as co-authors, and you will help us enhance the SPJI criminalization reform toolkit. The first cohort kicked it off. The second cohort made a lot of great additions, and we're going to hope that you're going to add to it so we can end HIV criminalization throughout this country and the world. Next slide. And I think this is where I turn it over to Cindy, right?
No, this is your slide.
Oh, my slide? Okay.
Yep.
So, we are going to have an end project. You're going to get a mini grant of $500 to put your advocacy skills that you're learning in the Institute to work. All of you are going to contribute to designing and creating an HIV criminalization reform toolkit. And each participant is also going to be put into a group that can choose from the following webinar teachback opportunities: mentoring webinars on various topics, policy brief drafting or producing some other document, which can also go into the toolkit, and HIV is not a crime, a community conversation bi-monthly webinar. We had some great conversations last year with the second cohort, and we hope to have some great ones this year with the folks that are chosen for the third cohort. Next slide.
Okay,
Take it away, Cindy.
thank you so much, Kevin. And welcome, everybody. This is Cindy Stein, the Development Director for Sero, and I am she, her, hers. And I'm located in Milford, Pennsylvania. And this part of it is the application part. It comes in 5 sections. There'll be an introduction and instructions, expectations, benefits, and basic information and questions, the technology, the time commitment, and the basic demographic information. Next slide. Okay, so each month for September, as we're doing the orientation webinar, in October, we module 1, November, module 2, December 3, January 4, February, module 5, and then in March will be a 6-month review of the first 1 through 5. And then April will go to start again with the module 6, May 7th, June 8th, July 9th, and then August, as Kevin mentioned before, you'll be working with the group to work on enhancing the toolkit. And then September is the end of program. And so each month a module will be totaling 3 hours of interactive time unless otherwise noted. So please be attentive to emails for any changes so that you are always kept up to date. Next slide. Okay, so at the closing of the Institute each year, participants who will have been guided in updating and adding to the SPJI toolkit have the opportunity to lead a teach-back workshop to their peers, will earn a certificate indicating their completion of the Institute, and the opportunity to be a facilitator or a faculty in the future SPJI. And the Sero Project Justice Institute is really made possible with the generous funding of Gilead for the Health Not Prison Collective. Next. And so if you have any questions about the Sero Project Justice Institute, please contact spjinfo seroproject.com. Thank you very much. And I think this is going over to Tammy and Kamaria.
Yes, thank you all. So that is a quick overview of the Sero Project Justice Institute. And I do know that we have 2 questions in the question and answer portion. One is, I live in Michigan. Can we participate virtually if selected? Yes, we encourage everyone to participate. We had somebody from Michigan participate in SPJI, the second SPJI cohort. So wherever you live in the US, we hope that you will apply. The second question is, do you have to be a person living with HIV to apply for SPJI? And yes, you do. While we know the importance and appreciate our allies, this program specifically is just for people living with HIV. So did you see any other questions in the chat box? Anyone sharing my screen? I wasn't able to.
Just someone asked, has anyone participated from Miami before? And I said, no, we haven't had anyone from Florida. Shout out to Florida. And that is the only other question I saw.
What? Well, I can share if people would like to see, well, maybe.
While you're doing that, and yes, you can participate virtually. The whole training is virtual. The only part that's in person is hopefully the graduation, depending on us identifying a venue and all that. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, it's a virtual training. And each graduation has been given I guess you can say a gift of having like a treat of like a special event that's attached to your graduation, but we never know what that is until the graduation happens. Tammy.
Thank you, Kamaria. I just want to pull up the application. So the application will be available in like an hour and a half. Whenever we get the recording link, we will add it to the application. Whoops. Forgot that it does that right here. So people who, as you're filling out the application, if you have any questions, you can come back to this webinar. We also have linked in here the slide deck, so you'll have access to that. And the basic information about SPJI is in section 1. Then we have section 2 that shares the expectations and benefits, again, along asking basic demographic information. We work to make the cohort as diverse as possible. So we usually pick just one person from each state, but try to get as diverse a cohort so that we learn from each other as throughout the year and throughout the module. Then the first question that you're asked is, provide a brief statement of why HIV criminalization reform efforts matter to you. Then there's a checklist of different statements. We ask if you've attended HINAC, and it's okay if you haven't. Not everyone has attended HINAC, but we just to know experience level as well of participants if you've attended a HINAC. Then section 3, we ask that you read this section carefully because you don't answer both question 4 and 5, you answer one or the other. So question 4, if you have attended a HINAC, what was something you did in your state with the information you took home from the training? And then question 5 is, if you have not attended a HINAC, provide a brief statement of your advocacy experience and how you plan using and sharing the information you gain during SPJI. So you only answer one of those, either 4 or 5. Then you'll go on to section 4, which we ask for a brief statement telling us anything else you'd like to share about your experience that will help us understand who you are and why you should be selected for SPJI. List of organizations that you're a member of. And then we ask, and this comes from Kevin, and I really like the question 8. Please describe your best training or educational experience. What did you like most about it? Why did you find it to be most helpful? And describe how you still use the skills or concepts you learned today. Then on to section 5 about technology. And as Kevin, when he was sharing from the slides, we just ask that you have some reliable technology to join the meeting since everything is virtual. No points are taken off. This is just information so that we know that you can fully participate on some device. Then section 6, we share the time commitment again, and then ask you to make sure that you're available on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month from 5 to 6:30 Eastern, so you can fully participate in the Sero Project Justice Institute, and that you also have time to do your homework and other webinars. It's about a 10 to 12 hour per month commitment. Some months may take more doing homework than others. And then section 7 is just the basic demographic information. Like I said, we ask that just so that we can have as diverse a cohort as possible. All right, so
Tammy, thank you for going through those questions, because I answered a couple of questions that came up. Are all trainings Eastern time? They're 5 to 6:30, I think I saw. Yes, 5 to 6:30 Eastern, so that would be 4 to 5:30 Central. And then there's a question around interpretation in Spanish. That is something that we are identifying resources for. It's going to, for us to do all the monthly meetings with faculty, we just need to figure out how it's going to work. So we can't guarantee it, but we are working on identifying it. And then I saw that there was a comment about being concerned about the time commitment. So I just asked folks to read the application carefully before submitting it, so that you can identify if you can commit 10 to 12 hours a month for these meetings. We are understanding if you communicate with us, keyword communicate. If something comes up, of course, we understand that many of us work from home or attached to a Zoom or have to transit from work to home, and that life happens. But just please communicate that with us. But we do ask that you try to be as present as possible for the training for the year.
Excellent. And if anyone has any other questions, you can either raise your hand and we can put you, let you unmute, or just type it in the chat box or the question and answer. Give everyone just a few more seconds. Let's see.
Also, if you have questions during the application process, please reach out. You don't have to make any assumptions when you're filling out the application. Just ask for clarity.
Kamari, there's another question in the question. Derek wants to know. It says 6 p.m. Eastern. Don't we usually meet at 6 p.m. Eastern?
We do. I was confused by that slide. Yeah, that's a typo, I think, from a previous program that we had. But yes, it is 6 Eastern. So to give folks time on the Eastern side to get off work and get home, not just to give special privileges to folks on the Eastern Coast, but the sessions do start at 6 Eastern. It is Eastern Standard Time.
I think there might be adding in the community conversations are 6 p.m. Eastern. The SPJI monthly meetings are at 5 p.m. Eastern. So that might, if you're seeing this 6 p.m., it's for the community conversation that we encourage everyone who is participating in SPJI to attend. But I will check the slides and see if it says that SPJI, like Kamaria said, it could be we messed up when updating the slides and missed one of the time changes.
Great. And then the next question comes from Nicholas Atkinson. Will part of the training include any state-specific content? For example, the political reality in Indiana may be different than Florida, Texas, or Pennsylvania. I'll let whoever wants to take that, but Nick, thank you for asking such a great question and thinking about things like political reality before we even start.
We, and Tammy, please jump in if I'm not characterizing this right. But because the group is such a small group, we will focus on whatever state-specific questions you have, but the information in the modules we provide are kind of generalized overviews of political realities, but we can, depending on what the module is, if we need to go in depth into like what the heck is going on in Indiana or Tennessee or Florida, we can do that as well as ask our faculty before they present if it's applicable for them to do that. Tammy?
I would also add that that is one reason why we ask that you join the community bi-monthly community conversations, because that is when we talk about state-specific work, and each state, whoever's represented on any particular call, talks about the successes or the challenges that they're having depending on their political reality. So that is the reason why we strongly encourage everyone to attend those bi-monthly community conversation calls. So that is covered as well during that time.
Okay, there's another question here. When will they send the questionnaire? And when will we know if we are selected? I believe Tammy answered that with about an hour and a half after this webinar. As soon as the recording comes, this will be going out, the questionnaire will be going out. And when we will be selected, if you look at the right there where we're looking at, yeah, where that little mouse is, participants will be notified between the 18th and the 22nd, probably closer to the 22nd on the selection. And if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Well, that's when we actually do the interviews. So you would know after probably the 24th. That's why anyone that we do interview, we ask that they already mark their calendar for September 26th, because the orientation webinar will be on September 26th. So between the 22nd and the 26th is when we will let people know who have been selected to be SPJI participants.
And another one, I'm ready to get started on my application. And then Wanda Commander, will you be sending our applications after the webinar? And yes, as soon as the recording comes in.
All right. Any other questions? Once the recording comes in, we get it uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you want first access to the recording, and we'll also link in the application on YouTube as well, go to the Sero Project YouTube channel, subscribe so that you get notices whenever we upload a new video. But then I'll lean it out to everyone who has registered, and it will also go out in a press release that Eric is creating tomorrow on Sero's Google group, along with other groups that we have access to. And we ask that you share it with somebody that you know who would benefit from this program as well. So seeing no more questions, I think unless anyone else has anything to add, we can give people part of their day back and let the recording process, Zoom process take place so we can get this out as soon as possible so you can start filling out your application.
Can't wait to see everyone's applications. Each year,
Yeah.
y'all make it more and more difficult to narrow it down to the 12, but really looking forward to seeing an application from everyone.
The YouTube is the Sero Project YouTube. All right, thank you all. Have a great afternoon.